If your hair on your arm or on your head is standing up on one end during a thunderstorm, lightning is about to strike you. What is a fact that could possibly save your life? If you've gone 2.5 or more days without water, and you have to choose between drinking water without any way to sanitize it or not drinking water, drink the water. If you don't, you'll definitely die soon. Most of the diseases you can get from bad water take a couple days to set in, which gives you more time to find help. If you encounter a mountain lion, do not turn your back on it. Walk backwards. Cats are ambush predators. They don't want to fight you head-on and will wait for you to turn around to attack. There are videos showing this behavior with tigers at the zoo. People will sit in front of the enclosure, and as soon as they turn their back to the cat, the tiger goes into stalk mode. They turn around to face the tiger, and the tiger goes out of stalk mode. 3 minutes without air. 3 days without water. 3 weeks without food. Lock your doors at night. If you've been stabbed and the weapon is left in your body, do not remove it. Same goes for any serious penetrating injury, don't pull whatever it is out. And to further convince you to lock your doors, there was once a serial killer that would let himself into people's homes at night and kill them because he thought an unlocked door was an invitation. There's also the recent story of the lady who went into an apartment she thought was hers and shot a dude just chilling on the couch because she thought he was an intruder. A tragic death, but could have been avoided with a locked door. Close your bedroom door at night. The amount of damage done to a room with a closed door by a fire is significantly less than one with an open door. You may have a chance to escape. Let me piggyback on this. If you are trying to escape a burning building and are about to open a closed door, be wary that there may be fire built up and trapped on the other side waiting for an opening to burst to the next room. If the door opens inwards, towards you, stand aside while opening the door, using the door as a shield, so the built-up fire doesn't blast you. Learn to swim. You don't have to be Michael Phelps racing a shark. Just learn the basics. And learn to recognize the signs of distress in water and use the buddy system in water over your head. My brother was a Marine. He drowned in a popular swimming hole because no one realized he was having trouble and they were too far away once he went under. Real drowning doesn't look like the movies. Humans have an instinctive drowning response that prevents them from shouting or waving. They spread out their arms straight at the surface of the water and gasp for air when their mouth bobs above the surface. But they can't get enough air to keep going this way. If a friend of yours has fallen through ice into a frozen body of water and you would like to save them, lie down on the ice and crawl out to them. Do not walk out to them standing up. This maximizes your surface area and lessens the likelihood that you will fall through the ice as well, getting you both messed up. If you are the one to fall through the ice, the first thing to do is to calm down and fight the effects of shock by taking deep breaths. You will do no good spazzing out and hyperventilating. After calming down, the next step is to army crawl on the ice. Do not try to lift yourself up on the nearest ice because this will make that ice also fail. Once army crawling on the ice, bring your legs parallel to the surface of the water and kick hard and fast, pushing yourself onto the ice. This is to minimize stress on the ice by maximizing surface area. Actual fire spreads shockingly fast. We all like to play what's the one thing you'd grab if your house was on fire? But the real right answer is that if it's not alive, you should leave it and get the hell out. People tend to imagine a fire burning on the floor in a corner somewhere, but the reality is often that it's running across the ceiling and circling around the walls. Just get out. Fast. Face, arms, speech, time. It's a way to spot a stroke. Face, if you've got an uneven smile or a part of your face is drooping. Arms, if you raise your arms and one of them slumps or can't be raised as high. Speech, slurred or unintelligible speech. Time is of the essence. Call 911 immediately. If you're at a bar or club and some a-hole antagonizes you, don't let your ego get involved. Seen so many people get hurt when they could just walk away. Funny thing is, most people think fighting back will defend their pride, but to me and a lot of other people you just look insecure. Be the cool guy who just laughs it off. Yours sincerely, former bartender. Someone replied, the other day I was walking my dog and was slightly walking on the bicycle lane, since hardly any cyclists are using it in the first place. Cyclist approached from behind and it was clear from the start, this guy was looking for trouble. So he keeps circling around me with his bike and screaming insults at me, telling me how he gonna mess me up, what a retard I would be and the like. You get the picture. Feeling somewhat secure since my mean looking 30 kilograms lab pit mix was with me, who loves people, but it's not like people know that. I first tell him to bugger off, but he keeps following me around. At this point I get a bit nervous since I have honestly no idea what to do to get rid of this guy again. So I look at him and ask him, "Had a bad day, mate?" "Who?" And he then instantly is giving me a super angry face, but the next second he opens up, like, "What the hell?" Telling me about his problems in his relationship and how his wife pissed him off that day and so on. So he slowly is biking next to me, telling me about his problems. Then he's like, "Sorry, I didn't want to insult you, but you know, I was really angry earlier." "You're cool bro," high fives me, cuddles my dog, and is driving off. Met him 2 times again since, every time he happily waved at me and giving me thumbs up. Not really a fact, but someone once told me this. If you wouldn't dare to put your genital in there, don't put your finger in there neither. This is useful, especially with big machines and other things with holes. You can prevent some serious injuries like this. Mixing bleach with ammonia, both of which are common household cleaning products, can release deadly chlorine gas. Basically, don't mix household cleaners unless you are 100% sure of what you are doing. Don't tailgate. Don't brake check tailgaters. You're in charge on a 1+ ton death machine and you want to play games? F right off with that BS and messing with other people's lives. Someone does love you and they will miss you if you're dead. I wanted to speak from my own experience, having lost someone who didn't think anyone cared about him, but in fact a lot of people cared about him and are now very sad that he's gone. My goal was to help interrupt anyone tumbling in the spiral of negative thoughts, because it's too late to do that for my person. For those folks who commented saying they are alone, I want to say that although we have never met, I love you. I mean that, and my heart goes out to anyone suffering. You and your life have inherent value despite any thoughts telling you otherwise. Life is hard, but we are here, so might as well make the most of it. Assume other drivers will do the dumbest thing possible and try to have a contingency plan. For example, riding motorcycles on the highway, I try to adjust speed, so there's a gap between cars to one side of me. So if the car to the other side changes lanes into me, I have a safe spot to duck into. If someone is trying to abduct you and fighting back or yelling for help doesn't work, then pretend to faint, or vomit on them. If those tactics don't work, then take the chance of getting stabbed or shot to escape. Once you get in the vehicle with an abductor, your odds of surviving are less than if injured in public. If you ever come into contact with a gorilla, especially a male, stay low and quiet, and no sudden moves. Don't look them in the eyes either. They take loud noises and movement as a challenge and they'll crush you like a soda can. If someone is holding you at gunpoint, make eye contact, say, "You don't have to do this," humanize this person, as if they will have feelings and be vulnerable, use that to your advantage. Eye contact will form a connection, they will be less likely to kill you. The same strategy applies to serial killers that intend to kill you. You basically have 3 minutes to humanize yourself. Make eye contact, tell them about your kids, even if you don't have any, tell them about taking care of your elderly parents, tell them how much you love your spouse, anything to evoke an emotional response from them. Brown, grizzly bears are an absolute unit, and you won't win a fight with one, so your best bet is to play dead. Black bears generally don't want to fight and are timid. If you come across one, make yourself big and make lots of noise and you should scare it off. They're not too big to, so you should be able to defend yourself. White, polar bears are known to hunt humans, and are the largest of all bears. If one's coming after you, you're in trouble unless you have a gun. If you happen to someday find yourself on a sinking boat, and it goes underwater and you're somehow able to get free, beware. Once the air neutralizes, if you're far down enough, water pressure will kill you, and collapse your lungs. To avoid this, scream all the way to the top. No joke? While you swim up, scream. It'll keep the pressure from killing you. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Life has this odd habit of throwing us curveballs every now and then. It can be difficult to overcome it on your own. So don't be alone. Open up. Confide in people you trust. Seek professional help. And be patient. It takes time. Just don't keep it all in you and fight it alone. That's a recipe for real damage to your mental health and happiness. If your hair on your arm or on your head is standing up on one end during a thunderstorm, lightning is about to strike you. If there is not a building or a car nearby, crouch down immediately. This forces lightning to find the next shortest distance possible it can strike, since lightning strikes the tallest thing in its area. In an emergency situation, if you need help for yourself or someone else, don't just yell help or call 911. Use specifics. Instead say something like, "You in the blue shirt, help." Unless called out personally, people have a tendency to walk on by, assuming someone else will help. Using a personal detail gets them involved. If your car is submerged in water, you won't be able to open the door against the weight of the water on the outside pushing it closed. If the car is completely filled with water though, the pressure on either side is equal and the door can be opened. That's the worst case scenario, though, and that should be the last thing you try. The first thing to try to do is roll up, or smash, the windows and jump out. You have less than a minute to do this. Do not waste any precious time calling 911 until you get the hell out of that car. If you ever find yourself caught in a riptide, swim parallel to the shoreline until you get out of the riptide. Swimming directly back to the shore while caught in one won't get you anywhere and it'll only exhaust you, making it extremely dangerous to do so. If you find yourself peeing a lot, I mean just an inordinate amount. You find yourself tired, thirsty, and hungry all the time. You find yourself paradoxically losing weight? Diabetes. Every head injury, no matter how minor, has the potential to be fatal. Always treat a firearm as if it is loaded. If you are unfamiliar with the weapon and you must move it, point the barrel down at the ground. Keep it away from your feet and keep your finger off the trigger. Turn into a skid. This is the way it was taught to me. Turning into a skid means the difference of going into a ditch, and going into a ditch upside down. If you're ever in an active shooter scenario, remember this acronym. A. Avoid. D. Deny. D. Defend. Avoid. This is the most obvious one. Just avoid the shooter if you can, call 911 if it's safe to do so, and run like hell out of where the shooter is. Deny. If you can't escape from the threat, go into a room where you can hide from the threat, make a barrier if the door doesn't have a lock, turn off the lights, and grab something that you can defend yourself with. Defend. When you can't avoid or deny, fight back and defend yourself. The carotid artery. When you see someone whose neck was slashed or cut and is bleeding out profusely, reach for his carotid artery and then pinch it so he'd stop bleeding out. My uncle was saved because of this. Some drunk slashed his neck with a broken bottle. His friend reached for his carotid artery so he stopped bleeding out until they reached the ER. Get proper sleep. You need it in life. Do your best to get more or less the hours you need every night. A bad night will not kill you. However, over a longer period, lack of sleep may cause a series of conditions: heart failure, blood pressure problems, early Alzheimer's, etc. Perhaps it will kill you in traffic due to you being stressed or not focused, or will make you less able to deal with problems in relationships and might lead to depression. You will likely make very bad decisions that could damage you and possibly the people around you for years to come. In the modern world where everyone stares at their phones 24/7, practice situational awareness. Never walk anywhere while on your phone. You become a prime target for muggings and getting yourself hurt. For God's sake, please don't look at your phone while crossing the street. Narrowing your view to a small screen also creates tunnel vision that disables you from reading the body language of suspicious people. When you're in any place, always look for where the exits are, or where you could make one. Consider your surroundings and always have some sort of ready-to-go makeshift weapon on your person. Situational awareness is a huge problem for crime and even school shootings, where people not paying attention could have saved lives if they actually paid attention in their day-to-day activities. A sad but too real example is Columbine High School, where the students killed in the library could have escaped if they actually went through the alternative exits. This is not paranoia, it is you actually paying attention to your surroundings and the people around you. If you're at a bar or club and need to pee, get a new drink when you return. If your drink tastes salty, that means it's spiked. Get a new one and don't leave alone. Don't get into an unlicensed cab. Learn self-defense. Carry pepper spray. This goes for everyone. Also, don't assume someone will step in during an altercation or attack in public. This is the Genovese effect. Named after a Kitty Genovese who was killed while people watched in assumption that another person would step in. Never assume. If you think that the person needs help or that the situation will escalate, step in. Never ever assume someone else will.